We hope you enjoyed every bit of the last episode, but today we have a special guest joining us from Newfoundland and Labrador, and her name is Chineze. Welcome to the ITL Voices, and thank you so much for joining us today, Chineze.
Thank you so much for having me, Vikram.
It's our pleasure. A quick introduction about Chineze. Chineze joined Gittens Associates in April 2020 as an Arctic student and is currently employed with Gittens as an associate and was called to the Newfoundland and Labrador bar this year. She graduated with an LLB honors from Medina University in 2011 and obtained the certificate of qualification to practice law from the Nigerian Law School in 2012. While at the Nigerian Law School, she did her Chambers attachment with the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice of Nigeria in 2012. Chineze practiced law for 4 years in Nigeria and appeared in all levels of the court before moving to Newfoundland in 2016. She is also a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in the United Kingdom. Outside of work, she enjoys spending time with her family, volunteering, cooking, and traveling. She is also fluent in English, Pidgin English, and Igbo.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite a resume, by the way. Chineze.
Thank you, Vikram.
It's a pleasure having you with us here today. Could you share with us some of your early or formative years and how your journey as a lawyer started?
I'm not one of those people that just knew they wanted to be lawyers. I wanted to be a doctor. Growing up, I always felt I was going to be a doctor. But I have this uncle who, I look up to a lot. He's like my hero, still is. He's a lawyer and a fantastic one at that. So I see him when he comes home. He shares stories of his days in court. I admire how well-spoken he is. And I always tell myself I want to be that. So that was kind of my going into law motivation was my uncle Edie. So, yeah.
That sounds great. Quite an uncle to have. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us. Given that you were already practicing law in Nigeria, what motivated you to relocate to Canada?
I got married and my husband lives in Canada. So after our wedding, I moved here, to join him. Yeah.
I think that's a good reason as any of that. Let's chat a bit more about your experiencing in practicing law before moving to Canada in comparison to practicing here. What experiences do you think stand out for you? Did you find it to be completely different? Or did you experience any kind of a culture or practice law?
I've only practiced law here for 2 months because I was only called in April of this year. So I'm not going to claim to be an expert on practicing law here. I've only done it for 2 months. But in comparing both jurisdictions, they are both common law jurisdictions because I trained in Nigeria originally. It's very similar. You find out a lot of things, a lot of the principles are still very much the same. And there's so many things you can relate to. And having done it a bit for about 4 years before I moved here, I was familiar with, I'm familiar with draftings and research and all the works, So the difference for me that I've noticed in my very limited practice here is that how different the courtroom can be, the courtroom experience is intimidating both ways. But here, the judges and the justices are nicer, more forgiving. You're not going in there like if you make an error, someone's going to chew your head off. That's the basic difference for me. Yeah.
I think that's a great answer. A lot of ITLs prefer to move to British Columbia or BC, Alberta, and mostly Ontario for employment-related opportunities. How would you describe your personal and professional experiences in Newfoundland and Labrador, and what made you choose Newfoundland and Labrador over other provinces?
I did not choose Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland and Labrador chose me.
Because of your husband?
Yes, exactly. So when I moved here, we talked about maybe moving to a different province over time. But I loved it here. I still love it here. The only thing I don't like is the weather. The weather is horrible. So if you're looking to move, just know that we don't have good weather. But we have really good people, really warm people, one of the nicest, kindest people you ever meet. So, and then we have kids. So I want to raise our kids here because this place feels safer, feels like home. So so the choice between the bigger cities and here, there wasn't really that much. We're just us talking about, do you think there'll be better opportunities to move to those places? And then we decided that this was it for us. So yeah.
And I think that's a constant source of conversation for new immigrants and especially lawyers as well.
Yeah, I think people move to where they have support. If you have friends in BC and in Ontario and you're looking to migrate from Nigeria you're going to go to where you have people. So You know, and mostly people are in those big cities, so they just go there. I think, I don't know.
So, tell us about how the process in Newfoundland and Labrador is different from other provinces.
I don't know about every other province, but at least I know a bit about Ontario. So the difference between Newfoundland and Ontario is that when for an ITL, so when you come in and you're done with your NCAs, you have to find articling. So we don't have anything like waiver. So you have to article with a law firm under a principal for 12 months. And part of the articling for 12 months is that you also take part in the bar course, which is absolutely amazing because you start by real lawyers. So these lawyers teach you the practice of law in Newfoundland, the practical aspect of what you're going to face in the courtroom and everything, the draftings, the filings, the forms is very hands-on. So it's 7 weeks and you write exams every week. But when you take a course, you write the exam. When you take a course, you write the exam. So the difference is that in Ontario, I don't think they have the bar admission course. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't. So you just do the articling and then write your bar exams. But here we have the articling, we have the bar admission course, then we write the bar exams, and then if you pass, you're called to the bar. So that's the process for Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all that information. I'm sure a lot of our subscribers will find this information extremely insightful. Moving along, how do you think people coming in from diverse backgrounds can integrate themselves in the Canadian legal community?
It's a lot of work and it's a lot of intentionality. You have to be intentional. You know, the moment you decide that you're going to move from one jurisdiction to another to practice law, you have to be intentional about everything you do and every step you make. So the first part would be to make the connections. It's not the easiest thing to do because our culture, we don't really reach out to people as much. You know, you feel like maybe, I don't know, pride or whatever. Like, but when you move, you have to learn to reach out to people. You know, you can reach out to 10 people and maybe none will respond to you. You can reach out to 20 people and maybe one will respond to you, but you have to put yourself out there. You know, be ready to network. If you have someone who works in a particular law firm or law office you want to be, you try to be in their face as much as possible. Send emails, you know, reach out. It may not work, but it may work. You never know. If you don't put yourself out there, then integrating will be difficult, you know. I
agree. And I think from personal experiences, I can speak to that.
That
it's a matter of numbers, I think, after a while. The number of people that you reach out to.
Yes. And the more you reach out to people and you don't get any response back, it kind of dampens your spirit, you know, because, you know, you feel like, but if you've decided, the most important, when I made up my mind to go on this journey, the thing my friend told me was that you have to decide that this is what you want because it's not easy, you know, so you have to decide, have the right support system. If it could be in form of friends, spouses, parents, you know, just have people who are cheering you on, you know, and then keep networking and trying to integrate into the profession. That's the best you can do. Yeah.
Thank you for that. As an articling student at Gittens Associates, did you get to work with different teams? And could you share some of your experiences over there?
So it's a full service law firm, which means that we deal in many areas of the law. So of course, so I got to work in many different areas of the law to actually have a experience to them and know if something you like or something you want to do in the long term. So yes, I worked with the amazing people, you know, who taught me, who are ready to, you know, mentor. You know, mentorship is so important, you know, so who are ready to mentor you and let you know that you're not alone in this struggle or whatever it is you're going through, and that you will learn. And, you know, every day gets better than the next. You know, you learn something today that you never knew yesterday, and then the next day you learn something new. So it's the mentorship, the teamwork, working in different teams, learning different areas of the law was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Thanks. I think that was very well put about how working in teams and getting the right mentor is so important.
So important.
What motivated you to actually, you know, motivated you to choose Gittens for your articling in particular?
When I was done with NCAs, when I started looking to article, my husband and I, we went on the internet to check law firms in our area, you know, so we checked, you know, different law firms. And then I picked the ones that kind of interested me, by what I saw on their website, what they did. And for me, Gittens was more like, it's a full service law firm. So I knew I was going to get that hands-on full service, you know, the full package of learning law in different areas of the law. And also there was 1 or 2 NCA students that were working there who went through the same process with me. So that kind of motivated me. I was like, so at least they know about this process. So they are aware. They've hired people like me who've come to a new jurisdiction to requalify. So they are familiar with the process. So it's not like you're coming in to explain to an employer about the process, because I've had that where you've had to like send them links and explain what NCA is. So that wasn't the case so they already knew. So that part was done for already. So that kind of pushed me. I really wanted to work there. I did my research. I was pushing in, sending in my resume, and the rest they say is history. Yeah.
Nice. That makes sense, and I think that was very insightful. And it's incredible that you were able to first, get articling at that law firm, do well, and be able to prove yourself, and now actually become an associate. It's a great success story. That it is. I don't think a lot of ITLs who go through the process can talk about this as a journey. So I think that you're one in a very small club that is out there. And talking about ITLs, a lot of them find it tough to navigate the relicensing and qualification process. A lot of employers do not want to take a chance with someone who does not have Canadian work experience. What would be the advice that you would like to give to ITLs at various stages of the qualification process?
Well, a lot of international trained lawyers, we shortchange ourselves. We're always looking at maybe the negative part of it, like you did not go to school here, you don't have the training here, they don't know you, they don't know where you're from. But I think looking at it from the point of view of, I'm bringing something different to the table,
Yes.
I'm bringing something that they're not familiar with to the table. I'm bringing something that, maybe no one else ever has brought to the table, when you're going into applying for jobs and, with that mindset, it makes you a little bit more confident, not cocky, just confident, knowing that, even though you weren't trained here, you were trained somewhere else, you're well trained, you've gone through this process, and you're smart enough, brave enough to go on this journey, and you're at this point where you're looking for a job, so instead of you looking at it from the point of like, oh no, I didn't go to school here, I don't know if they'll like me, if they don't like you, someone else will, so you just have to keep trying. And the culture is very different, our work culture from back home and coming in here. So if you could get jobs along the line to help you integrate into what the work culture is in Canada, it's very helpful. Get jobs. You may not be in your field, call center. It helps you with speaking to people, it helps you to know how to work in a team environment. It's not just about the money at that point in time. It's about the journey for you, the lessons, the things you learn. So get jobs that help you to put yourself out there, so that every step of the way, you're learning something every single day, at that job. So when you're eventually at the point where you need to be, you at least feel confident that you've worked in a work environment in Canada, and that you bring something to a team, because it's always a team. You have to be able to work in it, no matter where you're working. As long as you're working with other people, you have to be a team player. And maybe working those jobs help you to learn how to be a team player. So by the time you get there, you're not thinking of, I'm not bringing anything to the table, but you're thinking, I'm bringing something different to the table.
Right. I think that was a great advice that a lot of ITLs need to hear and need to understand, because these kind of experiences actually help you to get integrated and also make you understand this new environment that you are going to be a part of.
Yes, very important.
I agree. Are there any closing remarks from your journey and any successes or failures that you think is very important that you would like to share with our audience today?
Failures, of course. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're not always going to get things the first time you try. That's the harsh reality, You probably will have to push harder than someone else or the next person, but you have to be sure that this is what you want. You have to know that you're ready for the good and the bad. It's not always rosy. It's never always rosy. You're going to get a lot of no's. You have to be ready for that. People just say no to you, and it has nothing. You don't have to take it personal. It's just what it is. So you have to be sure that this is what you really want to do. You want to move from a different country to Canada. You want to requalify. You have to be ready for the long road. It's a journey. It's still a journey. I'm still going through the journey. Like I said, I've only just been called for 2 months. I know nothing, I know something, but I know nothing. You know what I mean? So, so you have to be ready to grow on the journey, to better yourself every day. Just wake up in the morning and choose to be a better version than you were yesterday. That's it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Chineze.
Thank you so much for having me, Vikram.
It's our pleasure. And sharing your advice and your tips and your insights from your own journey has been great. And I would like to thank the audience as well for joining in today. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for our next episode.